So you received a job offer from a company here in Malta. But when you check the contract, you're not really sure if the salary being offered to you is enough for you to live comfortably here. As a non-EU citizen, I had the same concerns when I first received my job offer here in Malta. At the time, I had no idea how much things cost here. I don't know anything about the bills, the rent, and the cost of other expenses, so I wasn't really sure how to decide. In short, I accepted the offer blindly. And that is something that I would never recommend to anyone because, of course, you want to have all the information that you need before deciding whether you will accept the offer or you will negotiate it. And this is the kind of video I wish I had seen at the time, because in this video, I'll be diving deep into the average monthly expenses that you need to consider so you can decide whether the offer being given to you is enough for you to live comfortably in Malta. Now, in this video, here are the topics that we will discuss. Number 1, the income brackets from low, medium, up to high. And then number 2, the tax rates. Number 3, other weekly deductions. Number 4, the gross average income versus the net average income. Next, monthly rent in different districts here in Malta. After that, the bills, and then groceries, and then lastly, other expenses. Before we get started, just a quick disclaimer. It's hard to quantify how much someone should really be earning in order to live comfortably here in Malta because, of course, we have different needs, we have different lifestyles to sustain. Some of you are single, some are coming here with their families, some are sending money back home to their families. So please note that in this video, I'll be using average numbers because these numbers could increase or lower depending on a lot of factors that we might be needing another video for. So I recommend that when you're doing your own computation, maybe during this video or after this video, try to add 20% more in your total expenses so you have a wiggle room while you're adjusting to the new lifestyle here in Malta. I had to get myself a cup of coffee because this video involves a lot of numbers, so I need to be focused and I need 50% more caffeine for today to do that. So if you want, you can also pause this video and get yourself a cup of coffee or any of your choice of beverage, and we can have a little coffee session in this video while we're doing the computation for your monthly expenses here in Malta. So I'll wait for you. I'll pretend to pause. In 3, 2, 1. You ready? Okay, let's hit it. For this part of the video, I'll be doing a screen recording, so I'll be moving on this side of the screen so it'll be easier for you to follow along, and I'll be showing the screen recording here. Okay, so the first topic that we will discuss is the 3 types of earners, and those are low, medium, and high. I base these categories into the tax rates here in Malta. And then from those categories, we will be talking about their annual income bracket and the gross average monthly income. For low-income earners, they're getting around 9,101 to 14,500 annually. And then for medium, 14,501 to 19,500. And then for high, 19,600 to 60,000. Now, what we will do is we will get the gross average monthly income of each of these categories. So it will be easier for us to compute how much your average monthly expenses here in Malta. So for the low-income earners, the average salary that we will get is around 980 euros. For mediums, we will be getting around 1,400, and then for high, around 3,300. So now that we already have the gross average monthly income of each category, let's talk about the deductions.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
This is the exciting part. Let me sip a cup of coffee. So you have 2 deductions that you will see in your pay slip on a monthly basis, and those are the tax and the national insurance. First, let's talk about the tax. So for low-income earners, they will be getting 15% tax in their salary, medium 25%, and then high 25% as well. So the next topic that we will discuss is the national insurance. Now, what is the national insurance? National insurance in Malta is a combination of your health insurance and your state pension contribution. Now, if you're employed, the contribution will be divided into 2 between you and your employer. Please note that this is a weekly contribution, so I will be discussing that further later in the video. So for the low-income earners, they'll be deducted 10%, medium 10% as well. However, for the high-income earners, this is where it's going to be tricky because they have a fixed rate of 206.4 or 258 Now, why two different deductions? It's because it depends on the number of weeks in a month. So as I mentioned earlier, the deduction is done on a weekly basis. If the month only has 4 weeks, then you have to pay 206.4. However, if it's 5, it's 258. So now that we've already deducted those two numbers, how much is your net average monthly income? How much is your take home? So for low income earners, they'll be getting around 833 euros. For medium, 1,050. And then for high, 2,268. I know it's painful.
Why, God, why?
So if you want to follow along and do your own... The storm is here! So there's a storm coming here in Malta. I think it's already here. We just don't feel it on this part of the island, but there's a storm. It's called Daniel. So I have a friend whose name is Daniel. Daniel, if you're watching, please spare Bujiba. If you're following along or you want to do your own computation later, what you can do is get your contract and see how much your annual salary will be here in Malta. And then from there, you will know from which of these three categories you will fall into. So for example, if you're earning around 15,000 a year, then you are at the medium category, which means that from there, you know that your net average monthly income here in Malta will be around 1,050 euros. And then after that, you can also check how much from that average monthly income will be allotted for your rent, your bills, and other expenses here in Malta. So now that you already know your net monthly income here in Malta after all of these deductions, let's talk about the other expenses that you need to consider. And first in that list is, of course, your rent. Just like in any other countries, the cost of the rent varies depending on the location and a whole other factors. But the major factor affecting it is, of course, the location. Because, of course, if you will be renting an apartment in the central area or near the capital, it will be more expensive. However, if you move a bit farther away from that location, maybe you will get a cheaper apartment. I'll be moving on this side of the screen again, because I'll be sharing with you the districts in Malta. Please note that for this video, I'll be only discussing the districts here in Malta because Gozo has their own districts, but I'll be creating a separate video for that. For now, our focus for today is Malta. Also, I apologize in advance if I butcher the pronunciation of the locations here in Malta. Again, I am sorry. I will be better in our next videos. First district is, I think, the most expensive one, the Southern Harbor, because it includes the capital city of Malta, which is Valletta. It also includes Birgu and Paula. Second is the Northern Harbor, which includes Lima, Birkirkara, and Zira. Southern Eastern, Marsashlok, Birzibuja, and Marsascala. I'm so scared about how I'm pronouncing these places. So the next one is Western District, Atard, Lia, and Rabat. The last one is the Northern District, my favorite, Mosta, St. Paul's Bay, and Biliha. Now that we already know the districts in Malta, let's talk about the types of accommodations you can find in these locations and how much they cost. Again, I'll be talking about average numbers only. There are three types of accommodations I will be discussing. First is bed space, second, private room, and the third one is one bedroom. I decided to include bed space because I think it makes sense if you want to save money and you're not really after the big accommodation and spacious balcony and so on. If you just want it to be just your little corner where you can sleep, then you have that option as well. And also, it's because based on my experience, this is how I started in Malta. I just rented a bed space. It's a practical choice for those who are starting here in Malta. Moving on, for bed space, if you're in the Southern Harbor area, which is in the capital city, you'll be spending around 275 euros. For the Northern Harbor, 237 euros. Southern Eastern, 225. Western District, which is the cheapest in this list, is just 195. And then the Northern District is 205. The cheapest one is the Western District, And then the most expensive one is, of course, Harbor, because it's where the capital of Malta is. For the private room, in Harbor, you'll be spending around 440 euros for a private room. Northern Harbor, 440 as well. And then Southeastern, 312. And then Western District, 340. And then Northern is 360. And then for the one-bedroom apartment, going to rent in the Southern Harbor, it's 725. Northern Harbor 700, Eastern 725, District 690, and the Northern District 625. You can see, and as I mentioned earlier, the most expensive area is the Southern Harbor, and then the cheapest ones are Western and Northern Districts. You may be wondering why I don't include transportation as a part of the monthly expenses here in Malta. And that's because public transportation here in Malta is free for residents. So as soon as you get your residence ID and then you get a Talinia card, you can take the bus for free. With exception, of course, you need to pay if you're taking the Talinia Direct type of bus and the night buses. I highly recommend that you get an apartment that is located near your workplace because although public transportation here in Malta is free of charge, there are still times where they get delayed, especially during summer, where there are a lot of passengers and the roads are congested. And if they get delayed and you have to go to work and you don't want to be late, you will be forced to take a car. That's based on my experience as well. And you don't want to happen because you'll end up spending more. Because, for example, to order a private car from my accommodation to my workplace, I have to pay around 25 euros, and that's just for one way. And that increases during summer times. For the bills, I did a little survey to my friends and asked them how much they're spending for their bills on a monthly basis. Note that this includes water, electricity, gas, and internet. If you're living in a studio apartment with AC, you'll be spending around 100 to 120 euros per month. If you're living in a private room, let's say it's a 2-bedroom apartment, you'll be spending 40 to 50 euros per month. And then for a bed space in a 3-bedroom apartment, 40 to 50 euros per month as well. For food, this is a very subjective topic because, of course, we have different diets to follow, different preferences. Some of you prefer buying their own groceries and eating at home. Some prefer eating out. I asked some of my friends how much they spend for food and groceries, and I also used my own computation for this one. On an average, you will be spending around 200 to 300 euros for your groceries. Lastly is other expenses. This again depends on your lifestyle and preferences, but for me, I spend around 100 to 150 euros per month for this category, and that includes things like clothing, medicines, home essentials, and phone bills. So those are the things that I include in my miscellaneous expenses. Now that we already have the numbers for your net average monthly income, your rent, your bills, and other expenses here in Malta, let's now put those numbers into practice and have some examples for each category. For our first example, let's say you're a single person and you will be working in Valletta and you want to rent a bed space. How much will be your monthly expenses? For rent, you will spend 275 euros per month. For bills, which includes gas, electricity, water, and internet, you'll be spending 50 euros per month. For groceries, you will spend 200 euros per month. For restaurants, let's say you went out a couple of times with friends and you ate out, you will spend 50 euros per month. And then for clothing, phone bill, and other miscellaneous expenses, you spend 80 euros per month. The total cost of those expenses will be 655 euros per month. The second computation is also for a single person. The only difference is that she will be renting a private room instead of a bed space. For that, her rent will be 440 euros per month. Bills is 50 euros per month. For groceries, let's say she doesn't eat at home that much because she prefers eating out with friends. So her groceries is only 150 euros per month, but her restaurant bill is 120. And then for clothing, phone bill, and other expenses, it's 120 euros as well. Let's say for transportation, she ordered a car for a few times and that will be 100 euros per month. The total cost for that single person renting a private room will be around 980 euros per month. The last one is a computation for a couple renting a 1-bedroom apartment in Valletta. For the rent, they're spending $725, bills $200, groceries $400, and then for restaurants $180, and for miscellaneous including gas, insurance, phone bills, clothing, etc., it's 400 euros, and then the total amount is 1,905. Those are the examples that we have. Please note that these are just average numbers. Again, the total amount could lower or increase depending on a lot of factors, so please keep that in mind. Please use this computation as a guide for you to make an informed decision as to whether you will accept a job offer or negotiate it. So that's it for me, guys. Those are all the information that I have for you about this topic. If you have any other questions, please do leave a comment down below and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. Also, if you like this video and you want me to create more videos like this one, please be sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll get updates whenever I upload new videos. That way we can get the word out there to other nationalities who are also planning to move to Malta as an expat. Again, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you in my next one. Ciao!